What's going on, Bottom Line viewers? It's Dylan and Mitch. We're here back again. We just did a extremely long live stream of the NBA Finals Game 5 where the Golden State Warriors won the series and the NBA Finals. So we're here back again. We're doing long videos. We're not even in regular locations. Mitch is in the basement, chilling out there. I was going to do it in the living room, but it's 1 a.m. I don't want to wake up my mom. So I was like, I'll just come over here to the regular room and we'll review Monday Night Raw for June 12th, 2017. If you're here watching us this late, we appreciate you. But we're going to review some mediocre television and get on our way. So, Mitch, how you doing? How you feeling after a long, extraneous video earlier in the day?
Bro, I'm a little tired, but I'm prepared. I got my blankie here. I'm fighting through. I'm ready to rock. We're going to talk about, like you said, some very questionably mediocre. I don't even know if it's mediocre television. And we're going to talk about it. We're going to discuss it. We're going to have some fun, hopefully. Hopefully you guys are here in the live chat so that we can have some fun with you and talk about some wrestling. So let's get into it, Dilly.
I'm already tired. You guys probably just heard me yawn, but we're gonna pursue because we told you guys we were gonna have a Raw review. And we wanted to get it out there. Trey giving us the praise. He said, Dylan and Mitch putting in the word tonight. Finals game, and now this crappy Raw. Too bad the WWE doesn't put in the work. Zal follows it up by Raw. It was worse than terrible. Maybe it's because I did skip it. We did have the luxury of skipping some segments we didn't care about. I didn't have to watch.
Dylan, can I interrupt you there? If you don't fast forward through Raw at this point, I seriously want to check you for some mental disability. like seriously, man. If you don't I understand still watching the show and fast forwarding it. That's perfectly fine. That's what I do. That's what Dylan does. But watching the whole 3 hours and then after complaining that it sucks.
Unless if you don't have a DVR, which in 2017 I don't even know is possible. It's just it. Guys,
quite honestly, Dylan, if we didn't do these reviews, I would probably this would probably be the number one thing I would do is I would watch the highlights on YouTube.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Because
I wouldn't watch the show and I wouldn't even fast forward through the show. I would just watch highlights on YouTube.
That's I heard there was
I would do because that's also not giving them the rating.
That's true. Yeah, because by the way, if you DVR it and watch it the next day, that still gives you a viewer. I would only check it out and DVR it if there was a really good match that I heard about and I can't find it anywhere else. Other than that, we do these reviews. We've done continuous Raw reviews for 2.5 years on this channel, and every single episode it just is like, man, when do we stop? Anyways, let's get into this review. We promised it to the fans. The loyal ones of the Bottom Line View, we would do it. So here we go. Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar start off the show. Brock Lesnar hasn't been on since the last time we were at a wrestling show the night after WrestleMania. So you can know already that it's been a very long time since Brock Lesnar's been on television. He's finally back tonight. Paul Heyman cuts the promo, of course. When is Brock Lesnar ever going to be on the microphone? Absolutely never, although he's a very good mic worker. Paul Heyman says last week he showed respect to Samoa Joe, but Joe lured him right in and took him out. Heyman goes on and says that Joe kicked out the front door to the lair of the beast. He put his hands on Brock Lesnar's guy, and now Brock has a problem. He says, congratulations. You had one of your biggest moments last week when you took down Paul Heyman, which is not that much of an accomplishment because Heyman isn't a big guy. Obviously he's not a wrestler. He calls Samoa Joe a dog, a punk. Maybe that's a little reference. He says he'll never get the hold on Brock Lesnar because he's not man enough. But if he does, Heyman can guarantee that. And then Joe's music hits. We're getting some intensity. So Joe comes out, gets in the middle of the ring. We think he's going to cut a promo. Straight headbutts Lesnar, which I thought was pretty cool. Kind of reminds me of the Samoa Joe Kurt Angle segment that they first did in TNA. But These guys have a full-out brawl similar to the Brock Lesnar-Undertaker feud from a couple of years ago. Straight beat each other up in the ring. Security comes in. They beat the shit out of them. Keep going in the ring. A bunch of the guys from the locker room have to come out and stop it, and even then, it takes a while for them to stop it. So kind of a hashing of an older segment, but I still thought it was pretty cool. I know Mitch is not the biggest fan of Samoa Joe, but I like that they're bringing up the intensity with him. They're trying to make him look like a legit badass. And I think it's a decent booking here for Samoa Joe. You're obviously like, well, Brock Lesnar can't lose, but Samoa Joe's got some UFC background experience, so they're trying to bring in the fighting style to it, and I like it. And this segment was pretty confrontational and straight to the point, which is something that we need a lot more in these promos nowadays. So, Mitch, what do you think about this opening promo with Paul Heyman, the interaction with Samoa Joe and Brock Lesnar, and the fight?
I thought the Paul Heyman part was okay, I think. Obviously, I didn't watch the show last week. I skipped last show. I wasn't on the review either. So I heard that their segment was pretty good. I saw the highlights for it.
Mm-hmm.
It was okay. I mean, it was nothing like out of the ordinary from Heyman. It was pretty much the same old thing. It was okay. It was well delivered. Then we got to the fight, which I thought started off well with Samoa Joe and Lesnar kind of going at it in the ring. And then we kind of had that same old thing with Lesnar where we've seen this numerous times, especially with Taker, where they have everybody come out and then they try and separate them and stuff. And that was kind of like, I've seen this before. It was kind of, whatever. But I like the beginning of it with Joe and Lesnar. This was probably one of the better parts of the show. I thought it was a decent opening segment. But again, this is my number one complaint. We have Brock Lesnar on the show. He's on the show for 5 minutes. We haven't seen him since WrestleMania. We haven't seen him since Raw after WrestleMania. Why is Brock Lesnar only on the show for 5 minutes? Get a pre-tape, anything, and this is another complaint, and I always complain about this, Dylan, is why is Lesnar on the show at the beginning and Joe on the show at the beginning, the two biggest wrestlers on your show, on the show at the beginning? Where are they in the middle? Where are they in the end? Why are they only in one segment? This is part of the reason you're losing viewers from hour to hour, because once Lesnar leaves the show, why should they tune in for hour 2? And why should they tune in for hour 3? That's the biggest draw on your show. And you're saying, okay, Lesnar's here. Lesnar's gone. Okay, flip the channel. I'm going to watch NBA. You know what I mean? So it doesn't make a lot of sense to me that, again, continuously, I'm in a segment or I'm in a match today at this time in this spot and I'm doing nothing else. That's not a proper TV show. That's more like a wrestling pay-per-view where they have a match and then they're done. It's not an actual television show. It doesn't make a lot of sense. We saw Joe one more time later in the night for an interview, and that was it. And we saw Lesnar once. Brock freaking Lesnar, you're paying this guy all this money, and he's only there for one brawl where it was barely him and Joe. We could barely see Lesnar because everybody was around him and everybody was trying to attack and separate him. So that's what I thought about that segment. I'm just kind of, frustrated with the WWE and their way of booking their shows so that one wrestler's in one segment and then they're done. And also, I just thought, we've seen this before with Lesnar. Let's do something a little bit different. He's not on television that often. So when we get the chance, we need to do something very special. I thought it was decent, but it's not something that's going to make you wow. So
I get the point, and I know why they put Lesnar here in the opening segment, because the NBA Finals was going to start an hour into Raw, so they wanted to get that appeal of Lesnar on there. But I would counter that with, why wouldn't you actually put him in the NBA Finals so you could, attract some of those viewers away from basketball? But but
Dylan, also you gotta actually take into account that people are watching the NBA Finals. They are watching TV at this moment. So maybe it's halftime or, maybe it's a commercial. They're going to switch over. So you're going to get those viewers that are switching over and being like, oh, I haven't watched wrestling in a long time. What's going on? Oh, Brock Lesnar's on the show at this point, but he's not on the show now. So they don't know that. But if the commentators were saying at some point, because something they used to do in the Attitude Era was, it wouldn't necessarily be like Austin is on the show at that moment, at that time, but the commentators would be like talking about Austin. What is Austin doing tonight? Like, he's going to be in this segment after this. So that gets the viewer to go there. Or The Rock's going to be in the segment later on, or Taker and Kane are going to be over here. So people need to pay attention to it, even though it's Triple H and Ken Shamrock wrestling in the ring. The commentators in the show are still directing you to the stuff that's going to happen later on the show, and they don't do that enough. And somebody asked the question, why don't I like Joe? I don't hate Joe. It's just I don't think he's a star. Like, I think he's like he's an okay wrestler. I didn't mind him when I watched TNA a little bit, but I just think I've seen him for so long do the same gimmick that it's just tiring. Like, he is the same guy over and over and over again. He never switches his personality up. He's never a different character. It's always Samoa Joe, badass, beat you up, put you in a headlock. Like, that's his character, and he does the same promo. It's like he's the same guy. He never changes, and he's not versatile at all. He's a heel, and he's a tough guy heel, and that's all he is. He's never a face. He's never a tweener. He's the same character for 10 years. So that's why I'm not the biggest fan of Joe, but I don't hate him. I think he's a decent wrestler, has decent mic skill, probably a bit above average, especially for today's standards. But I'm just not the biggest fan. He doesn't draw me in.
Fair enough. It's just at this point it's getting tiring, and we need to see something different with these segments here. So, it's interesting to look at what they need to do, make it a TV show, because you talk about this segment being planted first, and Brock Lesnar, who gets paid an enormous amount of money to do batshit nothing. Like, this year alone, he's been in the Rumble for a couple of minutes. He did a couple of promos with Goldberg, won the Universal title in about 3.5 minutes, did a segment on Raw the night after and tonight. So it's not like he's doing all that much. Just cut a short promo, like a vignette, something where he's doing something outside, getting training for a match, or, Joe attacks him at his home. It's not that complicated, guys. Just do something different. That's all I'm asking. This is going to be an interesting segment. Next up, we have Elias Samson in the ring, who's arguably one of the best characters the company has. However, it doesn't really get executed outside of the entrance / promo. So we see Elias Samson. He's in the ring singing. He's like, you know what? Everybody, turn off your cell phones. Hold your applause until after the song. He sings about the New Orleans crowd, which gets heel heat, which is one of the few characters in wrestling right now where he actually has legitimate heel heat. Not a lot of marks are coming on to him because a lot of people don't know about him, and people are hating the character, which is what you're supposed to do as a heel. But before he can end, Dean Ambrose gets in, and we go to a match between Dean Ambrose and Elias Samson. The commentators really try to put him over, which is a good thing, but he's kind of intertwined in this storyline with The Miz and Dean Ambrose for almost no reason. Like, I don't know where he folds in, because these two have a completely different segment later on in the night, and Elias Samson's nowhere to be seen. So I'm completely confused by that. Absolute idiot marks chant, "You can't wrestle," which is fucking retarded. And then at the end of the match, Elias Samson wins by distraction of The Miz, who's out there for like a minute and a half messing with Ambrose, and Samson gets the win with the snap neck breaker. It's good that Elias Samson gets the win. I just have no idea where he stands. So what did you think about this segment?
Like the great Vince Russo said to respond to the Mark chant, what would Hulk Hogan's career have been if he didn't have 5-star classics? Just think about that question for a sec. Think about that statement for a sec. The statement is that Hulk Hogan never had a 5-star classic, but he's arguably the greatest of all time. So there you go. All right, Elias Samson. I love the guy. We loved him since NXT. Really like the character. I think he has a cool look. He looks different. He talks good. He has that singing gimmick. And he's not a terrible wrestler. I just think he's kind of different, and you got something cool with him. So I think they should continue to push it. And I like that he does the singing in the entrance. But like I said in the DMs to you, Dylan, why don't they do more with him besides the entrance? And this is a complaint I have with every wrestler nowadays. The gimmick is the entrance. Shinsuke Nakamura's gimmick is the entrance. Bobby Roode's gimmick is the entrance. Bailey's gimmick is the entrance. Who else? There's lots of them.
I'm not my mouse. I'm just kidding.
A lot of these wrestlers nowadays. Oh, Enzo and Cass. Their gimmick is the entrance.
The entrance opening promo, yeah.
Yeah, like they do an opening promo in their entrance, and that's all they do. They don't expand upon the character. They don't expand upon, what the wrestler actually is about, what the character is about. It's just the entrance. That's what gets the audience, and that's it. They don't expand upon that. And I feel like they're going down the same hole with Elias Samson. It's going to be cool for a bit. People are going to enjoy for a bit, including myself, including Dylan. But unless they expand besides the entrance, it's never going to go anywhere. And that's the problem with it. As much as we like Elias Samson as a talent and as much as we think he's a special talent, they can't do anything, if they keep doing the same thing. Now, what I do like about it, because you can compare Enzo and Cass to it, is they do an opening promo. Enzo and Cass do the same promo over and over and over again. At least Elias Samson does something different every week. So it's a little bit better in that regard. But I would just like to see, a little bit more outside of the entrance, outside of the matches that Elias Samson has. I love the things backstage when they were trying to introduce him where he's just walking around with guitar. Very simple. Doing some vignettes about what his character is about, doing some promos backstage. Maybe he has a concert at some bar or something, like something cool where it could get over his character. I think, that would be cool. But I do like him a lot. Now, you brought up the point of Miz and Dean Ambrose. What does he have to do with them? I don't know. Like I don't understand. I barely, because I missed last week, and honestly, it seemed like I missed a lot because I have no idea why this freaking bear is there, and we'll get into that.
Yeah, you did miss a big episode actually.
Yeah, we'll get into that. Dean Ambrose, kind of. I don't think Dean Ambrose has, it hurts Elias Samson almost to be in the ring with Dean Ambrose. It's weird to say that.
I just don't understand it.
It doesn't make any sense. Why are they wrestling each other?
Yeah, I mean, so what I'm guessing at was, Miz was talking to Elias Samson a couple of weeks ago, and they were having, he wanted Elias Samson to attack Dean Ambrose.
Again, and then the other thing is they don't connect the dots with the episode because Miz is looking for somebody to attack Ambrose in this episode, and he doesn't go to Elias Samson, even though Elias Samson beat Ambrose.
And Elias Samson's in this fucking feud. It's
and Miz helped Elias Samson win.
Yeah. So where's the continuity in that? They never have any other interaction tonight, and Miz has 2 more segments. So I'm like, where? Just give me a cohesive story, it's even worse than a bad story because at least with a bad story, I know what's going on. If I don't understand your story, it's terrible. So that's what I have to say about that. The answer to the question that Mitch pitched, and I put it in the DM of why can't they expand on these stage entrances to things, is that they're lazy. I wish that wasn't the answer, but that's how they are. We come back from break and we see Goldust with another vignette video on Shattered Dreams production, which is one of the better qualities of Raw the last couple of weeks. He talks about R-Truth and says you got to keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. And he says Truth is jealous and scared of him, and the golden age is back. I've been enjoying these the last couple of weeks. They've been entertaining stuff. Goldust and his gimmick, he's coming back. So I'm interested. Hopefully this culminates in something pretty soon. You got anything to say about it?
Yeah, I want to see it happen sooner than later. But I liked. Did you bring up the R-Truth one as well?
I guess we'll combine them together. But yeah,
I actually liked. Okay, the R-Truth one tonight wasn't as good as actually the ones that I've been seeing on Twitter. I don't know if it's more from R-Truth just doing it himself, but when it started, there was R-Truth doing a rap or something on Twitter, which I thought was really good. And that's just the freedom that R-Truth has because it's his Twitter. So I'm sure that they took that idea that R-Truth maybe made for himself. I don't know because I don't work there, but maybe he made that and pitched that to the company to have a response to Goldust, or maybe he didn't, but he just did it on his own. But if you allowed more freedom for what R-Truth had to say, because I think R-Truth's kind of speech, it didn't seem like R-Truth. It seemed like R-Truth trying to counter Goldust with what Goldust would say, and it didn't seem like R-Truth countered Goldust with what R-Truth would say. You know what I mean? Like I feel like R-Truth needs more. All wrestlers need more, like, ability to expand on their characters and like leeway. That's something that they don't have. Is like they can't put their own creativity into it. A lot of it is written for them. And a guy like R-Truth, you could tell this guy's really creative. He's obviously really experienced. If he had the ability to do that, it would have been really good. I thought it was okay. It was average, but it wasn't special. Goldust, it was good. I like Goldust. I've always been a fan of Goldust. They're going back to the original roots of the character to finish the character off, and I think it's a good decision. It at least makes him relevant and interesting, so that's good.
Yep, that is true. And here's the thing: it looks like R-Truth is like kind of watching the video of Goldust promo and then making his own, versus just I'm gonna go off on my own thing. So that's how I feel about that. Miz is backstage with Kurt Angle. He wants something to do about Dean Ambrose. He wants some kind of consequences for what he did at the celebration. For those who don't know, I'm kind of basically cloning Mitch. Miz was going to have his celebration, his IC celebration, after his comeback tour has restarted. And through elaborate attempts, he thinks Dean Ambrose was a part of that celebration. But he's delusional, you see, because he thinks Dean Ambrose is always in his life. He thought he was the fucking bear. Like there was a bear celebration in there.
Yeah, I saw the highlights for it. It was like,
right.
It seemed okay. I don't know. I don't get the bear thing. Like, let's just start the rant here. Why in the blue fuck is a bear on Monday Night Raw?
I put in the comments or in the description, Rhino and Heath Slater versus The Miz and a fucking bear, an honest to God bear. This is what we're doing.
But bro, what does a freaking do they who are they marketing the product to? Are they marketing the product to 5-year-olds?
But bro, this is the same company 3 years ago that had a bunny with Adam Rose, and the bunny was getting over.
Don't remind me of that. But like,
this is the
one
same
minute,
company last
one
year.
minute they'll be something really aggressive and really like borderline, and then 1 minute they'll have like a freaking bear out there for 5-year-olds. Like, pick your target audience and stick to it. That's part of the reason why you don't draw. It's because you don't have a freaking audience. It's like a movie that tries to put too many things into the same character or the same thing. Like, it's just, it doesn't work. And then I don't know. It's like, I actually saw the numbers. Apparently there are more people. I think like there's about half the amount of people over 45 years old that watch the product are the same. Like there's 50% of the people that watch the product are over 45 years old.
I don't even know how it's possible. Honestly. Like, I don't even know how.
And you're putting a freaking bear.
But let's just compare. Okay, so we had the bunny about 3 years ago. We had unicorns flying around there, of course, with the New Day last year, and now we have bears. This is what we choose to review. I wish we wouldn't. I wish I get paid for more for this, but that's how it goes. Basically, Miz is like, we need some repercussions for what Dean Ambrose did. He accuses Angle of being too preoccupied in his own, personal problems, which is a good. I like that Angle aspect to it. And Angle kind of questioned him. He's like, "What do you know about? What do you know about my own personal problems?" So he's like getting paranoid about it as well. But he said, "You know what?
This was one of the best segments that Angle has done since he came back."
Yeah, that's true. Miz says he wants Ambrose fired or suspended or even both, which I don't even know how you could possibly be both. Angle says, "You know what? First, Miz is to never speak of him like that again. You don't talk to the GM like that or the manager like that. As far as Ambrose, Angle's going to do nothing and Miz wants something down. If he wants something done, he's going to have to do it himself. So I like that angle, still focusing on his little angle, I guess. And, he's still preoccupied with that, but he's still going to make the comments to the Miz. He's not going to let him talk to him like that, even in his troubled state. So I like that. I don't even want to talk about this. Cedric Alexander does a vignette, right? He's just getting back from an injury. And I talked about this during right before.
I got a lot to say about this.
I talked to Mitch right before we got on live about this. I was like, oh, they're doing the Cedric Alexander vignette. And then I saw flippy dippy shit, right? This guy just came back from an injury. They never brought this up because they've been doing stuff on 205 Live, which nobody watches. It's not even in the top 50 programming for WWE Network. Okay? So you have to clue us in.
Are there even 50 shows?
Not 50 live, I can tell you that. But how are we supposed to know this guy's been back on television for weeks? Like on 205.
I had no idea he was even hurt.
Exactly.
I had no idea.
They never brought up the fact he was injured because they probably brought it up on a show that nobody watches. You see the problem? Okay. So he finally comes back on Raw this week, and we get in this fantastic segment, by the way. Noam Dar's on the phone with Alicia Fox. Alicia Fox, right? They're on this, I'm guessing, FaceTime bullshit or whatnot. And Cedric just walks in. And you know how they always do the stare, like where the guy that walks in has to stare for 3 seconds for the crowd to have a reaction? Zero. No negative reaction for Cedric Alexander, which I feel bad because I like the guy. But obviously, when the guy hasn't been on television in months, nobody's going to know who this guy is. And no one's going to care. So anyways, Cedric is like, you know what? He made it clear on 205 Live, again, the show that nobody watches, that he's done with Noam Dar and he's done with his quote-unquote ratchet ex-girlfriend, Alicia Fox. Alicia just happens to be on the phone. She says she's recovering home from a neck injury. Where? We have not seen where this injury occurred. No storyline given, no fucks given. Alicia says that it will make her feel better if Dar can kick Cedric's face in tonight, and Cedric says the feud ends tonight. When was the feud ever started? Is my question.
This is the same feud they've been doing for 4 months.
Where?
That's what they're talking about.
I get that, and I remember some stuff with it before, right? But when did they bring this back up? Is my question, because
I have no idea.
Don't happen on a show that doesn't exist, according to most viewers, right? So then we go to commercial. You'll get to put your punches in, and we had Cedric Alexander versus Noam Dar. Noam Dar comes to the ring, still talking to Alicia Fox. I don't know how she doesn't know this match is about to happen. He's like, I'm going to put you in the corner. So she's still on the phone, FaceTime. By the way, the mic is somehow hooked up to the rest of the arena. And turns around, bell rings, Cedric hits his finisher, it's over. That's one way to end the match, I guess. That's the definition of a squash.
That was the best way to end the match, to be quite honest with you.
And nobody cares about this feud because nobody understands where it even started or why they should care. It's stupid. And by the way, Noam Dar, according to people that are supposed to be watching this program and only this program, haven't seen him the last couple weeks face off against Sasha Banks and Rich Swann.
Yeah, what the freak?
Exactly.
Okay. Let's just.
And
where do I even start with this?
We know what happened with Swann, by the way, and we know what's going to happen with Sasha Banks tonight. So it's like,
where do I start with this, Dill? Like, there's so many things wrong with this, but the only thing I liked about it is they did the FaceTime thing, which I thought was kind of cool.
That was inventive, I guess. Yes.
Yeah, like inventive, creative, something different that we don't really see much. So I like that the conversation between the girlfriend, boyfriend, and backstage, that was good on the FaceTime. I like that. It
wasn't on a unplugless phone, you know.
But there's so many issues with the continuity and just the like story in general. Like, when did it start? How did it happen? Why is Cedric Alexander even confronting Noam Dar if he doesn't care? Like, literally, they talk about how Cedric Alexander does not care about Alicia Fox backstage. But Cedric Alexander comes to the locker room where Noam Dar is on the phone. What? Like, that makes no sense. And then you have the vignette with Cedric Alexander where he's doing a bunch of freaking flippy dippy. And what's his character? What's he about? You have a chance to reestablish a talented in-ring wrestler, to give him a character, to give him a platform, but you don't do that. You just show his highlights of him doing flips and kicks. That's not going to get him over other than with DM Dave Meltzer. So, I mean,
don't talk about Magoo here. I didn't even want to get on
Mr. Magoo. He'll get over with Mr. Magoo with that vignette, but not with the casual fan, because nobody cares about flips and kicks in a fake wrestling.
Call him Mr. Magoo or Grandfather Mark, as I'm going to call him. Grandfather Mark.
All right. So there's that. I skipped through the match and everything, but I saw that it was like a 1 second finish. At least it was a 1 second finish because nobody cared. And I would have killed myself if I had to watch multiple minutes of that match. Yeah.
That's it. I mean, it makes no sense.
We should get to the comments, though, because there's some people commenting.
There is some comments. Let's go ahead and address some of them. What's the last time I haven't? Okay, we'll scroll up here. Let's see. Zal says Elias is a very good character. Indeed. And also says Marks can't wrestle either. Yeah, you're damn right. Bodo is in the chat. He is on a wrestling review, which is uncommon, but it is very welcome. He says Brock needs to fight a new Hulk Hogan type. I don't even know.
Good luck finding that.
There's not a lot
of luck.
Bodo on the show. There's just not. Brock needs to fight Brock, if anything. You can have like an old mental
Brock needs to fight Daivari, and then maybe we'll get somewhere.
Speaking of Daivari, cheap plug. Not only watch our GM mode from last night / today. Well, actually, no, it would have been yesterday. Watch our GM mode that happened episode 4, where we did a bunch of episodes of Raw and SmackDown with Daivari, of course, the God, facing off against Hulk Hogan.
Great match.
It was a great match. Oh, man. SmackDown commentator was going nuts. He was talking about the Lily Blowies and everything in between. So check out that episode. And episode 5 today, or Tuesday, where we're going to have Judgment Day, Mitch's pay-per-view. So
what's the start time for that?
3 o'clock Central Time. So wherever you are, adjust to it. Be 4 Eastern Time. And
live, of course. You can help us book our shows. Yes. Judgment Day, my pay-per-view, big time stuff coming.
Big time. Can Mitch get back in the ratings? We should have done that instead of Raw. Anyways, let's see. Bodo says need Kane type stuff to start attacking everyone in the ring and taking over the show. That'd be awesome. Zal says we need Cena to come back and bury some people on this crap show of Raw. He's coming back July 4th because that's very American of him. He loves being the American guy.
Classic Cena.
Classic. Bodo with my favorite comment here. Lol, I'm over 45. I love the unicorn bunny bear. Not really, the winky face. So don't worry, Bodo. We're all in love with the unicorn bunny bear. That's our mascot. Aaron makes a great comment. I don't remember subbing to you, so yeah. Well, thanks, buddy. You did subscribe. Hopefully you keep continuing to be subscribed. T. Clark says, what's up, guys? I didn't even watch Raw because of the NBA Finals. How terrible was Raw? Pretty below average, I would say. Most like most weeks. Pretty much. Tyshawn says, who do you think is going to face Roman Reigns at SummerSlam? Well, he's going to make a big announcement next week regarding that. It's a good question, actually. I don't know, Bray?
Okay, yeah. What was that about? Why was Roman Reigns not on the show tonight?
That's also a great question. I have no idea. Actually.
And second question, why was Braun Strowman not on the show? I know he's hurt, but why can't we have him on the show?
Because WWE is lazy.
So you have your 2 biggest stars not on the show.
And Brock
Lesnar.
And Brock on for 5 minutes.
And Brock on for 5 minutes.
And I know he's not as big of a star, but Finn Balor was also not on the show.
Oh, fuck him. Okay.
I get nobody likes him.
We'll talk about his stupid vignette later.
I liked it. Trey Guest with the greatest comment here. Yeah, Dylan's Raw running Mitch's SmackDown into the ground. Thank you, Trey. I appreciate it.
No. Judgment Day. I'll promise you this. Judgment Day is going to go off. It's going to be lit.
It's going to be lit.
And we're going to gain the ratings advantage back. I'll promise you that, Trey.
Is it as lit as my Air Nikes right here? They can't be as lit as these Air Maxes. I need to go get more.
Those are pretty lit, but Davari's on my show, so.
That is a killer. That is a stone cold killer, right?
Katana says Roman's vignette was the best one on the show. Did I even watch that?
Wait, there was a vignette for Roman?
I think I skipped it.
I think we both skipped it because I don't remember shit. All I remember is announcement next week. I'll probably read it in my notes.
Yeah, that's all I remember too.
Oh yeah, it actually is right next on my next comment. Back from the break, we get a video package for Roman Reigns. I didn't really watch it, but there's going to be an announcement next week for Roman Reigns. Which, by the way,
who the heck is he going to face?
Bray question mark?
No, Rollins and Bray.
Well,
right?
This is not. Well, that's for Great Balls of Fire. Oh, shit, I didn't mean to say that. For Fire. So like, they could be something different. Finn. That's my guess. Yeah. It's like I have no idea. But like if you're Roman Reigns, right? It's 3 weeks before a pay-per-view. Why wouldn't you focus on the pay-per-view? Why are you focusing to SummerSlam, which is like 2 months from now? I don't know. That's
because Roman doesn't give two shits about Great Balls of Fire.
I refuse to say that name. I know I almost said all of it right there, but
it's so awkward to say. It's a wrestling pay-per-view and it's called Great Balls of Fire.
I get it's an old reference, to the 60s and whatnot, but
This isn't the 60s, Vince.
Don't call your wrestling pay-per-view Great Balls of Fire. I can say it that time because I have to, right? Don't call it that. Call it something different or unique.
Can we get something a little bit like 21st century?
21st. Hell if I know. Let's get to Bray Wyatt. One of the best things on this show. Constantly week in and week out. However, this kind of was an interesting promo. Wyatt was on our screen first off, and then heads to the ring. At one point, I thought he was in the ring just to head back out of the ring. I don't know.
Yeah, that was weird.
Was he in the ring, right? I have no idea because I thought he was in the ring.
What do you mean? No, he was on the screen. Then he did his entrance. Then he cut a promo. Then Rollins came out. And then he left the ring, and then he was on the screen.
Just the very first part, I thought he was in the ring at first, and I was like,
no.
What the hell? Okay. So Wyatt starts off this promo after the long walk to the ring. He says, those who dare blaspheme his way in his name will be punished, just like Seth Rollins. He keeps going on and says, it took just one dose of truth last week, and Rollins' glass house came tumbling down. By the way, this is how bad Raw has gotten. I completely forgot that Bray Wyatt beat up Seth Rollins last week at the end of the show, and I reviewed it solo. So, didn't really leave a lasting impression on me, just saying. Wyatt cost the match against Samoa Joe last week from Seth Rollins because Rollins called him. Oh, this is where it happens. Rollins comes out. He wants to talk with Bray Wyatt because he's like, whoa, you cost me a match last week because I called you a couple of names? He was speaking the truth. Rollins goes on and says he's here by himself and dares Wyatt to prove him wrong. Wyatt says all he sees is when he looks at Rollins is a man that's beneath him. Wyatt says that Rollins doesn't want this fight because his powers are more than Rollins can fathom. And all of a sudden, spooky, the lights go off and they come back on and he's at the in the video, the Titantron. And he says, Rollins may have slayed a king, but a god lives forever. And then the screen goes off. Wyatt, always a great promo cutter. I actually thought Seth Rollins was pretty good as well. It was a good exchange between the two. It's just an interesting setup. I don't quite know why they want to fight each other. Wyatt kind of sounds like a bitch for trying to fight because of a couple of words. That's just my opinion. But I like the interaction between the two. I thought it was a good promo. Mitch, what you got?
Actually, I thought Rollins was strong in the promo, but he's just so dull as a character that it's hard to take him. It's hard to get interested into what he's doing. Like he beat Triple H at WrestleMania, and what has he done? Like at least now they're trying to build off of that finally. Like, okay, you beat a king, now you're gonna face a god.
Yep.
And it would be even better if Bray Wyatt was actually treated like a god. But Bray Wyatt, the thing with Bray Wyatt is his blessing and his curse is that he doesn't belong on the show. His blessing is that he's so different and so good and so out there that it's really good. But then his curse is that the rest of the show format and the rest of the way the show is, they don't use him properly because he doesn't belong on the show. His character is so much better than everybody else's. His promos are so much better than everybody else's. His potential storylines are so much better than everybody else's. The creative juices of his character are so out there that the show is so dug in their heels with this guy is Finn Balor and he wrestles in black shorts that they can't do anything with actual characters. So Bray Wyatt is a blessing and a curse to the show because he's so good, but yet
he's too good.
He's too good, and it doesn't work on the show because the show format is only I'm a wrestler and I wrestle in black tights.
I would also like to point out that 15 minutes earlier, we had a conversation about a fucking bear, and now 15 minutes later, we have voodoo magic, you know.
Exactly. Like, his character doesn't match the theme of the show.
Doesn't.
And, like, if he was put in a different era, it would have been amazing. But he's in this era that it doesn't work. So, but Bray Wyatt, I still thought had a great promo, especially towards the end of it. The beginning, like I was kind of lost. Like, why is he wrestling Rollins? Like why is he trying to go after Rollins? But I thought it was interesting. Towards the end, I really liked the way he sold the, oh yeah, you beat a king, but can you handle a god? And I love the way that his eyes moved. Like the way he sold that was really cool. Yeah, I thought it was a good promo towards the end, and I thought Rollins did a pretty good job. But again, there's just like there used to be reasons why they transitioned from feud to feud, and now it's just like, okay, we need a new feud for Bray, we need a new feud for Rollins. Let's throw them together.
Yeah, very weird setup to the build here because I'm like okay. Let me give you a good example. Jake, our executive producer, the young gun, that producer, he's in our DM with everybody in the bottom line view, and he's like, all right, so I like the addition of Joe Lesnar. What else are the other 5 guys in that Fatal 5-Way doing? And I'm like, I don't even know what the fucking feuds are. Like, it's so confusing. I don't even know. So that's a huge detriment to the show. If I, a guy that hasn't missed, you know, like he's constantly reviewing the shows, doesn't know the feuds, it's terrible. Troy Caruso. I know Mitch will rant about the bun, but I was loving everything else. Is backstage with the Hardys. They give props to the Raw Tag Team Champions, but they don't avoid daunting tasks, and they'll climb them and jump off of them. Cesaro and Sheamus believe they're the bar, but the Hardys are about to break the bar and reclaim the tag titles. I love the Hardys, right? They're great, but in this run, they're bland. Like, there is nothing to grasp about them other than when they came back and the nostalgia factor kicked in. There's been no broken Matt Hardy. Jeff Hardy has said like 5 words. It really hasn't gotten to me. And that's, I think, mostly on creative's part because I know both of these guys can be exceptionally well, especially in your TNA, you know, broken Matt Hardy and Itchweed and Brother Nero shit that I enjoyed. But they have come off very bland, and they don't get a lot of promo time either. This is probably their 3rd or 4th promo they've cut since coming back. It's been 2 months, so I don't know. Mitch, you got anything about this backstage promo?
This is such a waste of their talent.
Exactly.
Like, what the... Matt is cutting like a... I'm Matt Hardy. I have a kid. I'm
I
married
have
to a
2
wife. I have a brother. Yeah, we're gonna wrestle a tough tag team in Cesaro and Sheamus. Oh, hey Jeff, you want to say a couple words? Oh yeah, I'm gonna jump off a ladder because that's what I do. We're the Hardy Boys. We used to be really cool. Yeah.
5 stars.
That's basically what, like, where's the character here? We're supposed to get delete. We got nothing, bro.
I'm
What the fuck
waiting on
is this shit?
delete.
And then okay, Charlie.
I gotta roast you, fam.
Bun head. Get rid of the bun head. Okay?
I personally like it. I'm just
It looks good. She's gonna look good regardless, Dylan.
right.
But without the bun head, she's gonna look beautiful. I think they're holding her back with the bun head.
They're holding everything back because there was a great Instagram post earlier today. That was.
But Hardy's, come on, man. My favorite tag team of all time. Not right now,
But of all time.
but of all time, and you can't do it.
That's the
Like,
most
what's going on?
funny thing.
And Cesaro and Sheamus, what the fuck was that shit?
I actually kind of like that promo tonight. I'm gonna be honest with you. I liked it. I'm going to say the following words for this next segment, and I'm going to skip it. If Mitch wants to cut in at any point and actually say something about this feud, he can, but I'm not going to say anything more than what this is. Kalisto versus Apollo Crews with Titus O'Neil and Akira Tozawa. Okay, moving on. The Miz and Maurice.
I will say this. I think Titus is funny.
He is funny, but I have no reason to care about the story. Just saying. Miz and Maurice walk up on Rhino and Heath Slater backstage. I thought this was interesting. This was kind of different. Miz is talking to Slater, and he says, you know what? You deserve the spotlight. You guys were the Raw Tag Team Champions, and he wants Slater to join his entourage. Rhino, who's goofy, like this is actually kind of funny to me. He's just eating the Ritz crackers with the spray cheese and shit, which is disgusting, by the way.
Okay, hold up. Why in the blue fuck does Rhino have crackers and the spray cheese, bro?
This is his thing on Raw now.
It's so stupid. They used to do that on Smack. I thought it was the dumbest thing ever. Why do they do that?
Because Rhino's a big guy, and they just like to make
it is so lame. I
kind of laughed though when he, just started like chewing all the fucking Ritz crackers. I thought.
I think it's so bad. It's just not funny at all.
Anyways,
just terrible.
It's disgusting too. Like off. Spray cheese is
The Miz is a star. I love the Miz. Maurice, star. Okay.
Heath,
Rhino with Ritz crackers. Oh God.
All 4 are capable of doing some pretty cool shit. I'm just saying. Anyways, Miz continues his pitch on Slater, and he offers him anything he wants. Slater says, "You know what? I've been fond of the Intercontinental Championship. He wants a title shot." Miz says, "Slater can get a title shot someday." Rhino says again, Slater's already got a partner. Tells Miz to go find a partner because tonight we're gonna have a tag team match. I'm like, well, that's random, but okay, fair enough. I thought this was one of the better segments of the night. Fuck. I don't even want to talk about this segment because I put in. Wait, was it? Hold on a second. Okay, yeah. This next segment, I just was like, I was about to lose it because of how much it didn't make any sense. Right? Alexa Bliss hits the ring. She cuts a promo. She's like, well,
oh my God.
Yeah, you're about to go on with the same thing I'm thinking of. So Alexa Bliss is like, you know what? Last week I was supposed to have my celebration. Instead, I got Nia Jax. And before she can really get into it, Nia Jax shows up. Okay, this makes sense because Nia Jax got disqualified last week because Mickie James and Dana Brooke were out there, and they kind of cost her the match. Jax says Bliss wasn't forced to defend her title because she said she deserved the title and Bliss promised it to her. Jax gets really close with Bliss. Bliss says she didn't mean force. She was thrilled. Bliss says she was thrilled to defend against a true friend and competitor like Nia Jax. And then Dana Brooke and Mickie James hit the ring. Okay, it does make sense that they're also in this segment because they had their interaction with Nia Jax last week. They got beaten up by Nia Jax. They have their beef with Alexa Bliss for even being out there, and they had their fight last week. Mickie calls Bliss a dwarf, which I thought was funny. I don't know what she was wearing tonight, but I'm just putting that out there. Mickie says Bliss may be a 3-time champion, but Mickey's a 6-time champion, and you have to be a long way before you reach her territory. Isn't it weird in wrestling? Why would you say that you're a 6-time champion? Like, if you had a 1-time reign that was so long, shouldn't you be boasting that more than losing the belt 5 times? Just putting that out there.
It depends. Like, if they have, like, in UFC, if you have a really long title reign, like, if you have 2 really long title reigns, I think that's more impressive than holding it 4 times, but...
Right. Like, let's say...
Like, it depends on the length. I think the number of days and the opponents that you've beaten are more important in real life, like boxing or UFC. But WWE seems to acknowledge the
amount of time.
The amount of times more.
It's just like, okay, Punk had 2 title reigns, but one of them was 434 days long. Like, that's more impressive to me than Cena, who has a 16 length.
No, Cena's is more impressive.
I'm not saying Cena's is like less impressive than Punk, but you know what I mean. Like, 16 times is a lot of reigns, but you also had to lose the belt 15 times to get there. Just putting that out there. Anyway,
yeah, but it's fake.
I get that, but I'm just putting it out there.
Okay. He didn't actually lose it 15 times. And he didn't actually win it.
Well, I mean, they keep their titles sometimes.
But you kind of have to acknowledge it because you say, okay, this guy was at the top of the company 16 times.
Yeah, I get the point.
You know, like,
yeah, I understand why they do it. I like the numbers game more. Maybe I'm more of a stats guy. Okay. Mickie James and Dana. Dana's such a bad face. She's terrible. I don't know. I don't understand who in creative thought it was going to be a good idea to put her as a face. They tried to get on to Nia Jax for what happened last week, why she's mad, all things considered. And then Emma's music hits. This is the part where everything just completely falls off the rails. Emma is like, I'm back, which is great considering I don't care. Like, she died as Emma, I just don't care about her.
Who?
Exactly.
Who's this?
Nobody in the crowd understands who Emma is.
Who?
Who? Hold on. Who? Okay, anyways. It's like, where? She hasn't been back since the night after WrestleMania, again, because she was hurt. But nobody knows in the crowd who she is. She makes it very, a good point here by saying, I should be at the top. I want to face you for your women's title. Very, very bland, all things considered, but it makes sense. But still, we didn't need her to be out here. And then Sasha Banks comes out, and I'm like, okay, I know what's going to happen. Sasha Banks is like, I'm lost at what you're doing. I'm a gene away.
I just danced with Rich Swann last week.
That's the worst part of this, right? They just had a feud with Sasha Banks and Rich Swann, and now it's completely gone. Like, no mention of it whatsoever.
And then the fans go nuts for her. Like, what?
I don't know, bro.
Sasha.
They were crazy tonight. That was probably one of the most overreactions tonight, which is interesting. I think they're going to push probably a Sasha Banks Alexa Bliss feud for SummerSlam. Why are you palming your head?
Bro, this segment was fucking terrible.
It was. I
lost IQ points watching this segment.
It was a clusterfuck. It was a clusterfuck promo because
I lost IQ points watching this segment.
Everything hit the fan so quick.
The only talented person in the freaking segment was Alexa Bliss. Sasha Banks is ruined. She's awful at this point. I don't care what you say. I just can't get over it. And then...
I wouldn't say the only talented person in the ring. But...
What do you mean?
You said Alexa Bliss is the only talented person in there.
Who else is talented?
Bro, Mickie James. I know not now, but I'm just...
I don't care for her right now. What does she do?
I didn't say now. I'm just saying.
This segment was terrible. They had the ring around the Rosie, pass the mic around segment.
Hated that shit.
They have Nia Jax, who freaking sucks. They have Dana Brooke, who sucks worse. And then they have Emma, who sucks even worse.
I don't know about worse than Dana.
Emma comes out. Da, 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 da.
Oh,
I have aviators.
There's another
I'm
one.
Cool. I have aviators.
Worst themes in the WWE right now. That's another one.
Hi, I'm Emma, and I'm back. Sorry, Emma. Who are you? We haven't seen it. I didn't even know that you were gone. Where, like, you had vignettes. You're supposed to be a different character. You came out as Emma, and then you left? Like, huh? And what are you good at? You can't talk. You can't wrestle. You're not a good actress. You're good at throwing aviators. You're good at that. Why didn't you try and do Emelina? At least.
Oh,
and I don't even like in this character. I don't find her attractive at all.
That's true. Apparently, she couldn't pull off the Emelina character though. So.
Well, because she's terrible.
Exactly. So that's
cut off the roster. Dana Brooke, cut. Nia Jax, cut. Okay? Mickie James can stay there. But I don't know. She seems out of place because all these women are so young and she's kind of older. And then plus, they don't use her correctly. Like, she's this legend. And what does she do? Like,
they haven't done anything with her. That's... if you even care, if anybody actually cares, Mickie James, Dana Brooke, and Sasha Banks won, which leads me to believe after Alexa Bliss walked out of the match, lead me to believe Sasha and Alexa are the next feud. Let's fucking end the shit. Oh god. Okay. Well, actually, no. I can let Mitch rant. I'll just say the words. He can rant. Finn Balor video package.
Right, Finn Balor, man, he's the greatest wrestler ever.
Where's Marky Mark?
He's so great.
Oh, he's fantastic. You know what?
I want someone to squash this guy like a bug. I cannot. It's not that I hate Finn Balor. I hate his fans.
Yeah,
I cannot stand Finn Balor's fans.
That's absolutely true. Because I think the guy's a good guy, obviously, but come on now. You know what? I'm gonna tweet out.
Doesn't belong anywhere near the main event. If I was booking him, quite honestly, he'd be in the cruiserweight division.
I don't even know if I would go that, but with this maybe with this character, if they had the freaking demon and shit, I would go farther. But you know, I need to tweet at him and be like, bro, when you bringing the demon back? We've been asking for weeks, man. Been asking for weeks. Now this, you know, we've ranted the last. Actually, you know what? Before I even get to the segment, let's go to some comments because I'm gonna lose my freaking mind.
I'm Finn Balor with the pop up.
We're gonna get to the segment like I'm about to go off on, but okay. Zal says Roman won't be on the Fire pay-per-view. Why? There's been no explanation as to why he won't be on the pay-per-view. Is he hurt? And that's also another big superstar off your show, which by the way is in Dallas. Well, I might go. There's a chance, but come on now. Trey says, great promo, Mitch. That is I don't forget what promo it was, but it was great.
It was the Hardys one.
Oh, okay. Bodo says, I agree with Mitch for once. Oh, well, that's interesting.
For once. You always agree.
Clark says, Doink was 100 times entertaining than anything on Raw. Wow. Amen, brother. Amen. Orange is the New Black women is greater than Raw women. Better scripted. Bodo says man buns need to go. Man buns do need to go. I don't think anybody on the show was wearing a man bun. But the bun of Charlie will continue. Let's get to, we've been ranting a lot this last hour. But this was the worst segment of the night. Couldn't believe it. Bayley interview with Corey Graves.
No! No! No!
This was atrocious, okay? So let me explain to you how stupid this logic is. As Mitch crawls in a ball just waiting for this to end. Corey Graves sit-down interview with Bayley. He brings up the fact that Alexa Bliss beat her at Extreme Rules. She promised her fans, the WWE Universe, Kurt Angle, that she was going to be extreme. What happened? This is the dumbest explanation I've heard in my entire life, right? She's like, I am not going to deter myself away from being me. I'm always going to be me. I always want to be an honest person, and I don't want to inflict pain. Bayley, you're in the wrestling business for a reason, right? You have to win matches by inflicting some kind of punishment to somebody, right? Like, that is the whole purpose of winning. You can't possibly win a match without inflicting pain onto some person. So when you say, oh, I'm just going to go over here and give hugs, it doesn't really work that way. It just doesn't. She says she didn't want to send people to the hospital. She's here, and I quote, to put smiles on people's faces. You're in the wrong fucking business then. Because you can't win matches by smiling and hugging.
Okay, just to clarify. We know that it's fake.
Mm-hmm.
But if this was real, you're supposed to beat people up to win, right?
Yeah, you don't win matches by hugging. I don't think.
And it's in a hardcore match with a friggin' kendo stick. And you say, can we just end this?
No.
Dylan, can we just end this with a hug?
I gotta keep running.
Can we just end this with a hug, Dylan?
yeah, sure. We'll end the segment with a hug.
Oh my god, bro. I'm going back to my ball.
If you want to win the women's championship, how? Like, that's more important than like losing a match. Okay, he gets to continue crawling in his ball. He's lucky I'm hosting. Corey says that's a serviceable attitude towards life in general, but not in the ring. And she says she didn't come here to be someone she's not. Every time she walks through the curtain, it's 100% Bayley. And she's not going to change that because she's not going to give herself a name like the Goddess or the Queen. She's going to do what's best for Bayley. Yes, because losing an important match for your women's championship is what's important for you because you didn't hurt anybody. The logic is off the wall great here. Graves asked her about the future, and she says she's been getting a lot of tweets, and ever since she started training 9 years ago, this is where the Mark part comes in. She's been writing this down in her journal. She's been writing it down, right? She wants to be the best. Woo! Things haven't changed. Just because she lost a match doesn't change her mindset or her goal. She wants to recapture the title. If you wanted to recapture the title, why didn't you win your match? Like, I understand you could lose a match, but you didn't get hardcore enough to win your match. So why didn't you win your match? Because you didn't want to inflict pain? Doesn't make any sense. Whether it's, this is great. Whether it's tomorrow or next week, all she knows, she wants to walk back into WrestleMania as Raw Women's Champion. If you are a contender, you want the match to be as soon as possible. You're not going to wait for an opportunity to fall in your hands. Stupid. She wants to give anybody who has a dream the knowledge that it's possible and all this other bullshit. And finally, In the cringe-worthiest way to end the segment, she asked Corey Graves to hug her. Why? Because. And Corey Graves ends it greatly by saying she says it felt good, and he says he needs a cigarette. This was god-awful television. Why would any person that's trying to win championships in a fighting company not want to fight? Terrible. There's a reason why WWE buried her at the pay-per-view, because she can't get over with anybody. Not with any other fans older than the age of 8. Promo-wise,
that's being generous.
Probably 4. The wrestling crowd can't get with her because her promos are atrocious. The worst thing on television. Her acting is awful. Her wrestling skills are overrated. There's nothing about Bayley that screams, "We want Bayley." And we just figured out what she wants in life, to give hugs and give smiles, Woo! Terrible. Terrible. Now, Bodo has a great suggestion. It has nothing to do with this segment, but I like it. Rhino needs to eat carrots and just start saying what's up. Now, I would laugh at that, okay? Trey says, Bayley's the worst on the roster at everything. Holy crap, absolutely terrible. You're damn right, Trey. You're damn right. Mitch, you want to come out of your ball? The segment's over. I think he's waking up from this parallel universe here. I think he's finally getting up. But he's going to love the next segment as well.
Fuck Bayley. Okay, continue.
Heath Slater and Rhino versus Big John Club and The Miz, baby. So, we're going to find out who Miz's mysterious tag team partner is.
Oh, fuck.
So, we're going to find out who Miz's mysterious partner is. By the way, I will say this fit in well with what Bayley just had last segment. We get to see that it is a bear. The bear. The Congratulations Bear, a.k.a. Big John Club. The best part of this match was that Rhino gave him a bear hug. That's it. Of course, The Miz thinks that inside the bear is Dean Ambrose. He pulls it off. It's not Dean Ambrose. My favorite comment of the night is by Corey Graves, who says, "Oh, he's even uglier than the guy last week." Throws him in. He's just really pissed off. He turns around, and the new bear, miraculously, is Dean Ambrose. Dirty Deeds. Heath Slater gets the pinfall victory. Do I care? No. This feud's been off the wall for weeks. Mitch, any comments?
Dylan, there can't be anything worse on TV than this.
Oh, of course not.
This has to be the worst thing on TV.
Absolutely. You know what?
What is worse than that? A fucking bear.
I'm going to get one of my friends to come over and watch the show, and for 3 hours. I'm going to bear through it for 3 hours. No fast forwarding. And I'm going to see how bad they think.
And people say that this isn't the worst wrestling we've ever seen. This has to be the worst.
I read an article today by the Inquisitor, a good news source. They're saying if ratings don't go up, Raw and SmackDown could be completely off television by 2019. That's depressing.
Yeah, and wrestling will never be the same if that's the case.
Yeah, wrestling would be fucked. Yeah, that's the biggest, most reliable quality of wrestling, right? Nobody else puts in ratings. Impact had to leave Spike TV because they couldn't pull in enough ratings, and they don't have money.
Well, they sabotage themselves.
They are. Oh fuck! If we had to go into a history of TNA, we would be here for 5 years. But in terms of this, right? It's just poor quality. Just everything in between. They can't get ratings, and USA sees it. Why would they want a failing network that's lost them ratings the last 5 years? So that's how they feel. That's why they wanted the brand split in the first place, so they can have competition for SmackDown, so they can get some ratings. But it's not really working.
And it's not because wrestling doesn't draw anymore. It's because it's terrible.
We saw what happened the night after SmackDown or WrestleMania. Sorry, they had what 3 million viewers, or like 3.5 million viewers, almost pushing it a little more towards that area, and now they're under 3 million. Like they're terrible. It's awful. Anyways, Rich Swann versus Neville. Neville beats the shit out of Rich Swann, who, by the way, just had a pay-per-view mixed tag team match last week. Never gets brought up again. Mitch, next week you're hosting, so I can get to do this shit.
No.
Yes, bro.
No. Dylan, it works out better this way. You're the permanent host.
No,
SmackDown, I'm the host. Raw, you're the host.
No, because I suffer. I'm not even on SmackDown most of the time.
Exactly.
You're killing me, Smalls.
I get a break on one of the shows, bro. That's how it works, bro.
No, bro. No. We're okay. It's Vince Russo, bro. Neville talks about Austin Aries, TJP, Richard Swann, and wants some legitimate contenders. Talks about Akira Tozawa, but who the fuck cares? And that's it. Your favorite interviewees, Cesaro and Sheamus are in. Sheamus says that the key to defeating your opponents is to know your opponents. And they studied the book that the Hardys had. I didn't even know they had a book. But he said the book is ridiculous. And instead of exists to inspire, it's going to be called exists to retire. Because I
like that line. That's it.
That was a great line. And their new catchphrase, Mitch. I don't know if you've heard this catchphrase, but this is their new catchphrase today.
Set the bar.
No. They don't set the bar. They are the bar. Wait, but the bar would have to be... But you would have to set the bar because you are the bar. You would have to set yourself up to succeed. You know what? Fuck it. Anyways. We go to commercial break and we come back. And one of the best things about Raw in the last couple months, one of the only intriguing things has been this one particular storyline. The Enzo and Cass storyline. Big Cass is laid out once again. You would think if WWE saw this, they would just like either A, not let Big Cass and Enzo come into the arena, or B, have like security 24/7 so these guys wouldn't get beat up. They're just putting that out there. But Enzo's like, bro, what is going on? People need to tell me what's going on. Cass says he got hit in the head so hard. It's the hardest hit he's ever been hit with in one punch. And Cass is like flailing around, and they're going to walk to the ring. They're going to have this tag team match together. Gallows and Anderson have just such a fun time in the ring because they're nerds, and nobody cares about them. And they're just laughing it off, but Cass and Enzo get in the ring. Enzo and Cass versus the Club. The Club wins by the Magic Killer because who cares? Amore gets up, and they're about to hit him for another one, but the Big Show heads to the ring. Mitch, did you see what happened with Big Show last week?
He helped out Enzo, right?
Yes. Just wanted to make sure you knew how Enzo or Big Show came into the storyline. The Club bail. Show helps up Enzo, and Cass gets immediately into the ring. He's assuming some pretty bad things happen, but nothing really happened. So we come back. Big Show's walking backstage. Oh, by the way, I forgot to bring this up. This was very subtle, but I actually like this, and I'll probably bring this up next week. When Cass was laid out, Dash and Dawson were backstage walking around. Like, they stared at the camera for a second and walked out. I thought that was cool. Big Show talking to Enzo. Enzo says, you know what, thank you for helping me out the last 2 weeks. But before he goes, he says, Cass got hit with one big blow and to the back, and there could only be one person that did it. He just asked, for his peace of mind, if Show attacked him. Show gets really mad at this, and he says, you know what? It really is about your tag team partner. It must be about him. Big Cass is SAWFT. So there's a little bit of beef with Big Cass and Big Show. And I'm really liking this one storyline. If this show could be like this one storyline, we would be all smooth. Because they're doing a bunch of different angles. Kurt Angle is seeing what's going on, and Corey Graves is a part of it. The Big Show, they have Dash and Dawson. Like, there's a bunch of different factors into the storyline. You want to see where the swerve, the Vince Russo swerve, is going to be. So I like it. And I'm interested to see how the segment ends. Mitch, while you're on your phone, do you have anything to say about this segment?
Okay.
It's one of the only entertaining things you're going to see on the show. So.
Okay. Yeah, I like it, but why are they making it so obvious who it is? Can we think for ourselves?
Are you thinking it's Big Show or The
Revival?
I don't even think. I think they're just trying to hint that it's the Revival, and they're giving another storyline.
Hopefully, it's a swerve, but I don't think so. They're making it pretty obvious.
I think it's going to be a swerve, and they say Cass, inflicted the punishment on himself so he could turn on Enzo. That's why I'm guessing that.
Hopefully, but I think it's okay. At least it's something different. They're doing a story every show. I would like to see them do it on multiple times during one show.
Yeah, they didn't get to do it this time around. Usually, the last couple weeks they have, but they only got.
I do think that this has been pretty good, though. I'll give them credit where credit is due. I think this has been pretty good. It's very basic, but like it works, and at least it's like something like you have to think about. That's what I like about TV shows. You have to think about it. So, yeah, it makes you think about, okay, who is it? What's Enzo going to do now? What's Cass going to do now? Who attacked Cass? Who attacked Enzo? I like that they threw Big Show in here, but I want to see what they do with Big Show and how they carry on from that. But, yeah, I thought it was okay. And I thought the club promo was absolutely god-fucking terrible.
Nerd. Anyways, I just love saying that. They don't do a very good job at it, but I just love calling people nerds. Bodo, he says, "What the fuck? It's fake. Next you'll tell me that there's no Santa." I know, it's pretty crazy. Tyshawn, do you still watch TNA? I don't even know if TNA shows in America anymore at this point. They're literally paying fans in India to cheer and boo people, and they're paying people.
It's not TNA. It's Impact. It's Impact Wrestling.
Impact with a exclamation point. They're paying people to actually show up at these shows. So I don't know how they're making money, honestly. Bodo with the weird comment. Lol, you guys make great emo girls. Thanks? Question mark. I don't know. I don't know what to think.
I don't know what that means. If you don't like what you're seeing, just don't watch, bro.
No, Bodo is great. I just don't know. I don't know what we classify as emo girls for. We get a Samoa Joe interview backstage. Great. He finally shows up on, a second segment for a guy that was on the opening promo. He says that nothing has changed from this incident, and Heyman and Lesnar are playing into his strategy. It's not about words, but actions. And last week, Paul's actions showed him that Brock didn't sweat him, and this reaction is to send the messenger back with the same wounds he's going to inflict on his master. That was a good promo. Joe is always a good promo, so I thought it was pretty good. Anything you got to say here?
No.
You better host next week, swear to God. Cesaro and Sheamus.
What is there to say?
I'm just saying, come on, man, give me a break. Most of the last 6 episodes.
No, you're hosting. It works better this way.
I quit. I quit Raw. Come on, can we quit?
What am I gonna say about this Samoa Joe interview? They're just rehashing what happened earlier in the night.
At least he's on a second segment? I don't know. I'm just saying.
Good for them.
That's great. Cesaro and Sheamus versus the Hardy Boys, 2 out of 3 falls match for the tag team titles. Thought this was pretty good from what I saw. Cesaro and Sheamus picked up the first fall with a lateral press from Sheamus onto Jeff Hardy. The Hardys win the second fall by the twist of fate from Matt to Cesaro. The third basically kind of got a screwy finish with the double count out. So the Sheamus Cesaro Hardy Boys feud, I believe, is going to continue because it's not a real finish, and Sheamus and Cesaro are still tag team champions. I enjoyed the match from what I saw. Like I said, you got anything?
Comment would be, why do you end the show with the tag team division when you have Brock Lesnar on the show and you don't even have a title change?
That was conflicting. I like that they're putting spotlight and focus on the different stories, but if you're not going to have a title change, I'm kind of confused as to why you would do that. And Lesnar is on the show as well. So
that's all I got to say. I don't know.
Next week, we'll hopefully have a more inspired Mitch. But wait, before we leave, we're going to give our grades. I don't even know what to give this episode of Raw, but Mitch will start out. Mitch, what do you got for this grade of Monday Night Raw, June 12th, 2017?
I'll give it a 2.5.
Solid 2.5.
The opening segment, Lesnar on the show. No, I don't even know if it's 2.5. I can't think of anything else. Enzo and Cass. Drifter. Okay, yeah, Bray. I'll give it a 2.5. 2.5 is fair. But some of the stuff on the show is dreadfully bad.
I'll give it a 3 to be fair. I enjoyed the Drifter stuff, of course, the opening promo and package and stuff. So the first 30 minutes, pretty good.
Yeah, like the beginning of the show, I was actually kind of excited to watch it because I thought it was decent. But for a large majority of the rest of it, it wasn't.
Oh my God, the Bailey fucking promo. Everything with the women tonight. Every single woman.
Yeah, every single woman segment was god-awful.
From Alicia Fox to Bailey to the 6 women clusterfuck, it was terrible. I don't even care about the cruiserweights anymore. Sorry, Neville, you're great, but I just don't care. There were some other segments that were pretty trash. The Roman Bray promo, or not Roman Bray, Bray Seth Rollins promo. I enjoyed that. And the Enzo and Cass stuff. I guess we'll go into Plug City here. Mitch, you got anything to plug before we head out?
I'll let you plug GM Mode. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. That's something we don't often plug, but at Mitch Milani on Twitter. Make sure you follow me, and Dylan can plug his own. And also at the Bottom Line View, you should be able to find us, and that's where you can be up to date with the latest on the Bottom Line View. We tweet out videos, we tweet out all the things that's going on. I'm pretty freaking on it when it comes to Twitter. I'm always tweeting, I'm always retweeting sports stuff. So, I'm a good source even when it comes to finding out news for sports, because I'm always retweeting stuff, especially when it comes to Patriots and Penguins stuff. But yeah. Also, the last episode of the NFL Top 100 is coming out tomorrow. That's players 10 through 1. So the top 10 players in the NFL coming out tomorrow. A lot more NFL stuff coming out very soon. Of course, we just ended the NBA and NHL. We still have stuff going on with that, like the draft and stuff like that. But NFL is going to be ramped up from this week going forward. A lot more videos and a lot more topics that I need to cover, including fantasy football, which will be covered. A lot more just topic videos. A podcast will be coming out around the NFL. And the Puck It Up podcast will be back this weekend talking about, the recap of the 2017 season. Penguins are Stanley Cup champions. And what else am I missing? I think you can plug the rest.
All right. Mitch did bring up the Twitters. You can follow me at WrestlingGod27. I tweet about everything. It didn't even have to be about sports. I just tweet about a bunch of random shit. But I do tweet out about, some football, some basketball, all that kind of stuff. So if you want to follow me at WrestlingGod27. GM Mode, if you have not checked out episode 4, it's one of our favorite series on the channel. Check out episode 4, where Hulk Hogan and Daivari, they had an absolute 5-star classic, even 6 stars Dave Meltzer would give it, or Mr. Magoo, whatever you want to call him, Grandfather Mark, whatever. But still a great match. Let's see, hold on. Well, we got a question, or we got a comment from Bodo. It's like Mayweather never wants to fight unless he's going to win and not get hurt. Yes, that actually brings up to another promo where McGregor and Mayweather just signed on to do a fight. I believe the date's like August 20-something, 27th, 23rd, somewhere around there. So we're going to probably do a live reaction to that. But that's like 2 months in advance. I like the matchup, though. But yeah, GM Mode episode 5 is going to take place on Tuesday, which is technically today, or if you want to be realistic, tomorrow. It's going to be 3 p.m. Central Time, so 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 o'clock at the Canada, in Canada where they're at, so in Vancouver. So, time adjust accordingly. That's going to be a good episode. I've got a what if video. What if Kobe Bryant never got traded from Charlotte to the LA Lakers? That's going to be a video coming out next week because the NBA draft is next Thursday, which me and Mitch will be doing a live stream of, talking about our favorite players. Where's Lonzo Ball going to be? How is LeVar Ball going to react? That'll be a lot of fun. And hopefully Fitty Trent can be on that video as well. I'm talking to him. We're in the works of that. So, of course, NHL, Puck It Up. I'll be on the first Puck It Up podcast just because I won the NHL bracket. Maybe I'll show up for a couple minutes because I got work, but we'll see. But yeah, stay tuned for more content. We're at 2,800 subscribers and just getting started. So for Mitch, it's Dylan, the Bottom Line View. Peace.
Peace.